Hello, welcome back. Dinner and a show. It's Brian. It was pretty late, so Tanner's not here. I just got done watching Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson's first directorial film in 10 years. I think the last movie he directed was Apocalypto, which I have not seen, but I heard that was a really underrated movie. It starred Andrew Garfield, and it deals with the battle for Okinawa in Japan during World War II. They have to get through Hacksaw Ridge in order to take it over, and it was one of the most difficult battles ever fought. And Andrew Garfield stars as Desmond Doss, a pacifist, someone who refused to carry a weapon with him. He believed in not killing anybody. In his words, he wanted to save him. And I thought it was a very powerful movie in almost every respect. Cinematography, music, just the atmosphere. Mel Gibson is a very unique director, I'd say. And I think this was some of his most unique work because, he has personal issues, but his work is amazing in this sense because he's known for a lot of violence in his movies, and this is no exception. Some of the violence here was very shocking, and the build-up to the first opening shots, and when I mean shots, I mean bullets, not camera shots. It's very tense. It's a very tense movie, and I don't think they glossed over the violence of the movie, and I think they needed to show the violence of the movie, like how dark it was, how scary it was, and just how insane the violence was, in order to see the light in the darkness, which the light being Desmond Doss and him trying to save people. He went through a lot of trouble to get to be able to fight alongside his men, or his fellow soldiers, without a gun, because pretty much the view at the time was, you're a coward, and you're letting these men die for not carrying a weapon and for not being able to protect them. But he was one of the bravest men on the field. He had saved about 75 people. And I think I'm going all over about the history of the character because he's just he was an engaging character. I loved this character. He was amazing. All that he does. He stuck to what he believed in, and I usually, like in my blog, The Scoop for B Coop, I usually try to find what we can learn from a movie, like morally, like what is the movie trying to teach us? And I think it was trying to teach us to stick to our beliefs, not being fazed by what other people are thinking about you. He did what God felt, or what God was telling him to do. At least that's how he felt. That's how he felt called to it. He felt called to not carry a weapon, and you know what? It worked out okay. It was just such a powerful movie because, he had no respect among his troops at first because of his stance, but when they were seeing what he was doing, he was still up on Hacksaw Ridge saving people when his men were in full retreat. When the sergeant ordered a full retreat, he was still up there to save just one more person. Just one more. That's all he said. And I was just like, gosh, it was great. And Hugo Weaving plays Desmond's father. And I think Hugo Weaving and Andrew Garfield, who plays Desmond. I think they both did the best acting in their careers. I would be shocked if they did not receive Oscars for leading role and supporting role for just how well they did in this movie. It was great. And I wish I knew more of the cast going into the movie. I want to say Sam Worthington was in there. And it looked like he was in there. And if he did, if he was, he did a fantastic job as well. He played, I want to say, like a captain in there that was directly under, or over the sergeant. And the sergeant was played by Vince Vaughn. And that surprised me because he's usually a comedian. But hey, he did a great job for his role, and it was great. He was able to be serious. I thought the makeup was terrific. It's kind of desensitized as it is to say. The corpses, they looked real. The injuries looked real. People are comparing the violence to Saving Private Ryan for a reason. I'll just say that. A lot of it was grotesque, and some of it kind of made me a little squirmish. But I don't know, maybe I'm used to too much violence. And because I know Tanner, he was saying that this is a film that he could probably only see once, or at least once in a long time. And I could see that because, man, it is violent. Now, I saw that a lot of critics were getting onto Mel for how he was portraying the Japanese soldiers. I don't know, that might be a touchy subject. I'll just give it a shot here. I think it was portrayed from the American soldiers' perspective. They thought that they were evil, that they were cruel. If you look at some history, you can see that, the POWs that were in Japanese concentration camps, they had very cruel treatment over there. So, I don't know. People can be cruel in war, so... And the Japanese were part of the Axis allies, and they were, Axis powers, and they were, allied with Hitler, so, at the time. So, it is what it is. They're the villains in this story. Mel wanted to portray them, as a pretty, I wouldn't say they're barbaric. I'd say they were very, just very passionate for their cause. And, it's very, and they were just portrayed very viciously. I'd say they were very vicious in their killings and attacks. Let's see what else is there. There's a nice romance story to go with the movie, because Desmond does meet a wonderful woman named Dorothy, and I really liked it. It was very charming, and it was a little faster than I thought, like the pacing for their romance. But I think they did a great job in trying to, just give Desmond a reason to go back home so that he can be a wonderful husband to her, and that he can go to her saying that he did his best to serve his country. And I think they portrayed that very well. If I don't see this movie as a Best Picture contender, then the Oscars are rigged. Or people still haven't gotten over Mel Gibson's remarks almost 10 years ago. And he's asked for forgiveness. Robert Downey Jr. has stood by him and saying it's time for Hollywood to forgive. And I think it's time to. Mel Gibson is a talented actor. He hasn't run away from the law for, doing what he did. Now, I haven't done a terrible amount of research, and it has been 10 years. So, since I've heard a lot about him. So yeah, I mean, I saw an interview of him and Stephen Colbert several weeks ago, and yeah, he's a little crazy. He just seems like he's about to blow up at any second sometimes. But I think he's changed a lot. I think he's done a lot, and he's tried his best to right his wrongs. So, I mean, I think you should give the film a chance. I think you should watch it. Not for the faint of heart, because it is a very, very violent movie. But I think that this is a special film. A film that a lot of people should see. And I will give my rating a secret handshake. It is a powerful film, and yeah, just a very emotional film. And what I loved about the film is that they didn't really force you to accept his beliefs. They didn't, and they didn't try to preach to the audience. They just said, this is his character, and this is what he believes, and he strongly believes in it, and he's convicted to not kill anybody. And I don't think they force that down anybody's throat. I know a lot of Christian films tend to do that, like War Room. It kind of fell a little preachy, courageous. I mean, Fireproof. Just like a lot of the Sherwood Baptist picture movies. But it was, yeah, I don't think they really forced it down anybody's throat. I think the message was clear, and it's something that people can get behind. To stand for what you believe in, and even if it means, that you could get, punished by it or think differently by it. It's powerful stuff. I mean, it's definitely relevant to our time. So that's what I got. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll try and do some speed reviews a little more often. I know I'm running around 13 minutes. Just driving around. I had a lot to think about. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. It's great. This is Brian. I'll make sure to have some more movie reviews for you. See you later.